What if I told you that the greatest danger to humanity isn't ignorance, or even outright evil, but something far more subtle, something that can turn brilliant minds into weapons against truth and make ordinary people blind participants in their own downfall? Think about it. A celebrated doctor begins spreading reckless lies. A trusted teacher starts endorsing destructive ideas. A caring parent makes decisions that put their own children at risk. These aren't monsters. These are intelligent, compassionate people who've surrendered their ability to think clearly. This, my friends, is what the German theologian Dietrich Bonhoeffer once described as the power of stupidity. Not a lack of intelligence, but the abandonment of independent judgment. And here's the terrifying truth. It's not happening to other people. It's happening to people like you and me. In 1961, psychologist Stanley Milgram shocked the world. Literally, volunteers, instructed by an authority figure, believed they were administering painful electric shocks to another person. Despite cries of pain, 65% went all the way to what they thought were lethal levels. These weren't sadists. They weren't broken. They were ordinary citizens who had, for a brief moment, handed over their moral compass. This is exactly what Bonhoeffer witnessed in Nazi Germany. Teachers, doctors, pastors, and scholars, people who should have known better, surrendering their conscience to slogans, to authority, to the crowd. And here's what he concluded. Against stupidity, we are defenseless. Logic doesn't work. Evidence bounces off. Arguments fall flat. Evil, Bonhoeffer said, contains the seed of its own collapse. Evil knows it's evil, and eventually it corrodes. But stupidity is different. Stupidity feels righteous. It believes it's doing good. And that's what makes it immune to correction. This isn't about IQ. It's not about education. Bonhoeffer was describing something more insidious, what today we might call functional stupidity or willful ignorance. And here's the kicker. It doesn't emerge just from individual weakness. It grows from systemic pressure. Pressure that makes honest thinking costly, inconvenient, even dangerous. Modern parallels sound familiar. Look around. Social media giants profit when we react emotionally instead of thinking critically. News networks chase outrage, not nuance. Politicians win with catchy slogans instead of complex solutions. Add to that the crushing stress of modern life, debt, insecurity, information overload, and you get a recipe for intellectual surrender. It's what economists call rational ignorance. Why spend hours understanding policy when a quick slogan feels enough? But this efficiency comes at a catastrophic price: collective irrationality. How our brains comply. The problem isn't just outside, it's inside our heads. Leon Festinger's research on cognitive dissonance showed how we reject information that threatens our beliefs. Solomon Asch proved that in groups, 75% of us will conform to an obviously wrong answer at least once. MIT studies revealed that false information spreads online 6 times faster than truth because it's simple, emotional, and satisfying. Algorithms know this. They feed us what confirms our biases. They trap us in echo chambers. And slowly, without realizing it, we stop thinking for ourselves. This isn't just history repeating. It's history supercharged by technology, a dangerous evolution. Bonhoeffer saw propaganda spread through newspapers and radios. But today we live with AI-powered systems analyzing every click, every pause, every reaction, designing content to push our psychological buttons with surgical precision. And now, with deepfakes and synthetic media, even our senses, sight and sound, are no longer reliable. This is more than manipulation. It's an attack on the very wiring of human cognition. The fight back. So how do we resist? Bonhoeffer believed freedom of thought comes at a cost, what he called costly grace. It's the courage to think independently, even when it hurts, even when it makes you unpopular, even when it's dangerous. Today, psychologists call it intellectual humility, the awareness that we could be wrong, the discipline to test our beliefs instead of worshiping them. Here are some practical acts of resistance. 1. Intellectual friction. Regularly engage with thoughtful arguments from people you disagree with. 2. Productive ignorance. Ask yourself, what evidence would actually change my mind? 3. Pause before sharing. 60 seconds of fact-checking can break the cycle of viral lies. Admit uncertainty. Saying I don't know is a radical act in a culture addicted to certainty. But here's the truth. Personal practices alone aren't enough. We need systems that make honest thinking easier. That means holding platforms accountable for algorithmic bias, investing in media literacy education, designing incentives that reward humility over arrogance, reducing the economic stress that drives people toward intellectual shortcuts. Bonhoeffer's final question. In 1945, just weeks before Germany's surrender, Dietrich Bonhoeffer was executed for resisting Hitler. His final words, "This is the end, but for me, the beginning of life." He died not just for political resistance, but for defending the dignity of thought itself. And he left us with one haunting question. Who stands fast when everyone around you stops thinking?